When you hear the name Cleopatra, this is probably the image that comes to mind. But what if I told you she looked more like this? Because Cleopatra's real story isn't about beauty, it's about power.
I will rule Egypt.
Power so dangerous that Rome erased her name, then built her legend to hide the truth. So let's start there. The truth. The truth about the woman who made the world bend, then burned with it. Yes, Cleopatra ruled Egypt, but she wasn't Egyptian, not even close. She was Greek, born in Alexandria to the Ptolemaic dynasty, foreign rulers who'd sat on Egypt's throne for centuries. They didn't even pretend to be Egyptian. They spoke Greek, worshipped Greek gods, married their own brothers and sisters to keep the bloodline pure. But Cleopatra was different. She learned the Egyptian language. She prayed in Egyptian temples. She called herself the living Isis, a goddess reborn. Not because she believed it, because she needed people to believe it. To them, she was still an outsider. So she built an illusion, an image so powerful that 2,000 years later, we still see her in gold, still whisper her name like myth. But behind that legend was a girl who had to fight her own blood to survive. Her palace wasn't a fairy tale. It was a battlefield made of marble. At 13, Cleopatra married her 10-year-old brother. Soon, he turned against her. She fled into exile. And from exile, she watched her own brother try to erase her from the throne. But Cleopatra wasn't born to disappear. She waited, calculated, and when the most powerful man in the world, Julius Caesar, arrived in Alexandria, she made her move. Not with beauty, with strategy. The story says she wrapped herself in a rug and had it delivered to Caesar's chambers. It sounds romantic. It wasn't. It was war. When the carpet unrolled, so did the future of Egypt. She didn't flirt. She negotiated. And in one night, she turned an enemy into an ally, and an empire into a shield. With Caesar's help, she crushed her brother's army. He drowned in the Nile, and she became Queen of Egypt, alone, untouchable, divine. But power always wants more. She bore Caesar a son, Caesarion, and for a moment, it looked like she had everything, until Rome reminded her what it does best. It destroyed its own heroes. When Caesar was stabbed in the Senate, Cleopatra's golden world shattered overnight. She had built her life around a god, and suddenly, that god was mortal. Rome tore itself apart after Caesar's death. Two men rose from the ruins, Octavian and Mark Antony. Antony called for Cleopatra, and Cleopatra didn't walk. She arrived. Her ship sailed into the harbor of Tarsus like a vision. Purple sails, silver oars, clouds of incense music echoing off the water. It wasn't seduction. It was symbolism. Antony ruled soldiers. Cleopatra ruled minds. Together, they ruled everything. They built a kingdom of excess, feasts that lasted nights, gold pouring like wine. They declared themselves new gods, Isis and Dionysus reborn. But in Rome, Octavian turned that love story into a weapon. He told the people their general had been bewitched by an Eastern witch, and Rome believed him. War came. At Actium, their fleets met Octavian's. The sea went silent. No wind, no mercy. When the battle turned, Cleopatra made the hardest choice a ruler can make. She sailed away. Antony followed. Rome never forgave them. They lost everything. Their power, their cities, their gods. Back in Alexandria, surrounded by the ruins of their empire, Cleopatra locked herself inside her mausoleum, the tomb she had built for herself. She refused to be paraded through Roman streets in chains. Octavian offered mercy, but Cleopatra understood mercy was just another word for humiliation. So she chose her ending. Some say an asp, Some say poison. No one knows, because she didn't leave witnesses, only a legend. Octavian became Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. He rebuilt his world. But history forgot his voice and kept hers. Because Cleopatra didn't just survive history, she hijacked it. She turned her flaws into fascination, her scandals into immortality, her life into the story every empire fears, that one woman can outthink them all. She wasn't just a queen, she was a system, a strategist, a symbol. She made her enemies write her story, and even then, she won. So who was she? A villain? A goddess? A monster? A genius? The truth is, she was all of it. Because Cleopatra didn't play the game. She designed it. She learned the power of illusion, the danger of mercy, and the price of being unforgettable. And that's why we still speak her name. Not as a woman who ruled Egypt, but as the queen who ruled time itself.